Brandon Miller to the Charlotte Hornets. I do like that. The only thing that kind of is a red flag for me is like him getting into that controversy about like somebody dying. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. You watching High Tide Jet. Ride the tide and subscribe today. Talking about the Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets have the number 2 pick in the 2023 NBA draft. That means they're probably going to pick Brandon Miller or Scoot Henderson. Originally, I thought they should pick Scoot Henderson. Just looking at his highlights, I'm like, you know what? I know they have LaMelo Ball. That's their franchise point guard right now. If you're the Hornets, you gotta go best player available, and in my mind, Scoot Henderson is the best player available after Victor Wembanyama. But the more I've been thinking about it, maybe they should take Brandon Miller. I mean, he is a great player and he fits better with what Charlotte needs at the moment. It looks like that might come true as far as Brandon Miller becoming a Charlotte Hornet. News just came out about 30 minutes ago. It could be all bullcrap, but we're just gonna act like it is true. Per Kevin O'Connor of The Ringer, all indications suggest that the Hornets are leaning toward Brandon Miller with the number 2 pick. Looks like based on his intel. It looks like he has intel. I do not have intel. I just go based on the internet. He might be going based on the internet, but who knows? Brandon Miller to the Charlotte Hornets. I do like that. The only thing that kind of is a red flag for me is like him getting into that controversy about like somebody dying. He was at the scene of a crime, something like that. I don't know the details. I just automatically go back to Miles Bridges. Like when it comes to anything that has to do with the law, I'm like, the last thing this team needs is like gaining another player who has trouble with the law. But I mean, I don't think he did anything. I think it was just more like wrong place, wrong time. But anyways, let's go to the stats. I was looking at Miller's highlights. I love it. He's explosive type of player. He looks like he could possibly be an all-star one day. I mean, based on what I'm seeing now. 6'9", 200 pounds. He averaged 18 points per game. If you want to round it up, it's 18.8. So let's say 19 points per game, 8.2 rebounds, 2.1 assists, 43% from the field. Pretty damn good if you ask me. You know, just like any other rookie, once he gets used to the pace of the NBA, puts on some muscle, then he's going to be a problem. He has the potential to be great, especially with a player like LaMelo, who's known for his passing ability, finding the right player at the right time. It's just going to make Miller look even better. The reason I wanted to go with Scoot was a lot of players who get drafted to a team, usually they end up leaving. Of course, there's exceptions like Damian Lillard, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I feel like those players have had success with those teams. I mean, Lillard never won a championship, but they were usually always in the playoffs. So, you know, you can see the vision like, oh, if we add 1 or 2 pieces, we can make it all the way. But with the Hornets, it just seemed like they haven't really done anything this whole time. So maybe LaMelo just secures the bag and then, you know, the Hornets have another bad season or two. He might look around, call his agent and be like, hey, how can I get to California? I don't know, because he's from California. So maybe he would want to go to a team closer to where he's from, closer to his family. Who knows? So that's why I was thinking, you know what, draft Scoot. Maybe he could be the backup point guard, or you could start him next to LaMelo, because the rest of the players on the team, I'm not sure how much stock they have invested. You know, Gordon Hayward has 1 year left in his deal. Terry Rozier, who knows what they're going to do with him? How long does he have left on that team? If you draft Scoot, could that just be his replacement? Yeah, it just doesn't hurt to have a great player. And especially like if you look at a team like the Sacramento Kings, they had De'Aaron Fox and they still drafted Tyrese Halliburton, and they just ended up using Halliburton as a good trade piece to get Sabonis. So the Hornets, you know, if they draft Scoot, they can see how he develops and just use him as a trade piece to get a star in the future. But I think drafting Scoot might leave a bad taste in LaMelo's mouth. Pause. I don't know. Maybe they don't want to run that risk. They rather just get Brandon Miller. He's a hell of a good player, and he just fits what they need now. I think deep down, the ownership over at Charlotte, the GM over at Charlotte, they believe that they are not too far away from being a contending team. A good draft pick and maybe a trade or picking up somebody in free agency could really take this team to the next level, because they weren't a bad team before last year. Last year was just a series of unfortunate events. LaMelo Ball getting injured, Miles Bridges going through his dealings with the law. They didn't get the coach they wanted. They wanted Kenny Atkinson. They ended up having to settle for Steve Clifford. The list goes on and on as far as the series of unfortunate events with the Hornets. So last year, I don't really consider it I mean, it was a failure, but there was a series of unfortunate events that led to that failure. It wasn't just like we're all healthy and then they just played like crap. Just seemed like a lot of unforeseen issues were taking place. But anyways, so reports are pointing towards Hornets selecting Brandon Miller. That means Scoot Henderson will be selected by the Trailblazers at number 3, assuming that the Trailblazers keep the pick and do not trade it. If they do pick Scoot, I think it makes sense for them as well, because I think they should hit the reset button, just trade Dame. I mean, you could try to see what it looks like with Scoot and Dame. It just seems like they don't have the pieces to really make big moves happen as far as getting deep into the playoffs. And even if you make a big trade, it's just the players they have, the bench, it's just, I don't see. I think the Trailblazers should draft Scoot, just hit the reset button, trade Dame, get as many assets as you can and build around Scoot and whatever other assets you end up getting. That's just my personal opinion, but that's for another video. I'll probably do a video about Scoot Henderson getting drafted by the Portland Trailblazers. Anyways, more videos on the way. I appreciate y'all for watching, and I'ma holla at y'all later. Peace.